Okay, today we're going to talk about how to make a budget in 30 minutes or less. And let's switch that around there. Okay, so I am Ashley Patrick, master financial coach, stay at home mom of three kids. I really work at home, stay at home, taxi driver, run them everywhere. I worked as a police officer for 10 years, 7 years as a detective. During that time, we paid off $45,000 in 17 months, 25,000 of which were my student loans, and we paid that off in 10 months, all because of a zero-based budget. And that's what we are going to talk about today. And now I am a Ramsey Solutions Master Financial Coach. So before you get started with actually getting down to your budget and your numbers, let's print off the last 3 months of expenses. I want you to do this for a couple of reasons. This will help you get a good idea of your average income and expenses and how much to budget for each item. It's also a very eye-opening experience. It will help you realize where your money has been going and places that can be cut. So whenever I started doing this, before I made a zero-based budget, I would just write down our income, expenses, and then have whatever left over at the end of the month. Well, then that money would just disappear. And so whenever I did the zero-based budget and went through the last 3 months of expenses, I realized that we were spending like $1,200 eating out and on groceries. It was ridiculous. So I would buy all these groceries and then we would still eat out for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So once I did the zero-based budget, I realized that was one area that we could cut drastically. So this will help you see those areas where you can cut back on to save money and pay off your debt. The next thing I want you to do is plan a time to sit down and have a budget meeting with your significant other. So I want you to not have any distractions, find a babysitter, see if the grandparents will come take your kids, do it on a lunch break at work so that they're at daycare, whatever you have to do so that you're uninterrupted, no distractions, sit down, have a budget meeting. But I also want you to have it to make it fun. Bring snacks, drinks, be relaxed. I don't want you to be all stressed and tense. And also know that you are probably opposites when it comes to handling money, what you want to spend your money on. So there's going to be some compromise. More than likely, one of you is a saver, one of you is a spender. So you're going to have to listen to each other, communicate with each other, and really compromise on what each other's priorities are and what should be a priority for your family and your money at this time, because it may not be the same. So what is a zero-based budget? This means assigning every dollar a purpose. So it's being very, very intentional with your money, where it's going, what you're spending it on. So on paper, your cash balance at the end of the month is zero. And I'm going to show you what that looks like. So instead of having, after expenses, having so much money left at the end of the month, it'll be zero. So whenever you're ready to sit down and work on your budget, I want you to write it down at first. This is for a couple of reasons. It'll help you remember it. It'll keep you accountable, and it'll help you achieve your goals. Whenever you write something down, you're 1.5 times more likely to achieve it. And this is because of keeping yourself accountable. It helps you remember and all those things. So I want you to write it down. I don't care if you write it down and then put it into a spreadsheet or an app, but I want you to write it down at least for the first couple of months. This will really help you achieve your goals, and your budget is a goal for your money. The next thing you need to do is look through your last couple of months' statements and determine your average income. So this is where we're going to start. So some months, some paychecks are going to be a little more, some maybe a little less, but we're going to take your average and that's what we're going to work off of to make your general monthly budget. So your number one priority is going to be food. That's your first priority in your budget is food. And that doesn't include restaurants and eating out, it's just groceries. Those will be a different line item in your budget. The next is going to be shelter and housing. So everything that is associated with that, your rent, your mortgage, utilities, taxes, transportation, car payment. Sorry, skipped ahead there. Next is going to be transportation so you can get to work. So you got your car payment, your public transportation, taxes, maintenance, And you want to make sure that you are maintaining your car so that you can take care of little things before they become big things. It'll be a lot cheaper in the long run, and your car will last you a lot longer if you can do this. And the next is clothing. And by this, I don't mean that you go shopping for clothes every weekend, because Ashley said it should be a priority and in the budget. Yes, it's in the budget. It can be a sinking fund so you can save up for whenever you need something, seasonal items, kids' clothes when they grow, that type of thing. But it also needs to be reasonable. So you want to have a reasonable amount for clothing. It doesn't mean that you're going and buying 6 outfits every weekend. Next one is insurance. So you got your car, house, life, which should be term life insurance, and then disability. So you want to make sure that you are covered short-term and long-term disability, and that can be through your work or through your independent insurance agent. And then lastly, your priority monthly expenses are your debt payments. And then we've got sinking funds, and sinking funds are non-regular expenses. So these are things that may come up a couple of times a year, but not necessarily every month. Some examples include Christmas, gifts, vacation, medical, taxes, animals. Also, you could include some kid expenses like sports registration fees, school pictures, things like that. And I am going to show you, let's show the budget here example. So in my example here, I'm using a dual income family, and just $6,000 a month after all the things that come out of the paycheck, taxes and insurance and all that stuff. So we've got $6,000 income. So right here is our monthly expenses. So this is where just the regular monthly things come up. So for your car payment, I had 400 in there, student loans 300, let's say 300 for credit cards, and that leaves us with a cash balance of 1672. Now I don't have daycare, I don't have clothing in here. That can be a sinking fund. We'll put that over here for now. So give me just a minute for that. Okay, so we've got almost $1,700 here. And then you see we still have entertainment here of $150. We've got miscellaneous for $50. We've got $30 for hair. Now this, just keep in mind, this is just your general monthly budget. So each month is going to be a little bit different. So more than likely, unless you're a man, you're not going to get your hair cut every single month. So, you could do $30 a month, or you may need more than that. It could be $40 a month, so that every other month you've got money to get your hair done, whatever it is, however you want to work it into your budget. This is just what we spend on my husband and my son getting his haircut every month. So I have to do a separate one for whenever I want to get my hair done. So basically, this is just your general monthly budget. And then whenever you're ready to do January, February, March, you will copy and paste this into a new spreadsheet. So all you do is hit the plus button here and you'll make a new one for January. And then keep in mind that each month is a little different. So you'll have your general budget and work off of that. It makes it so much easier. And here I even put $800 for groceries. So we actually only spend about $600 for groceries, and some months is less than that. So if I have some money left over groceries, like if my freezer stocked up and I don't need as many groceries, I'll use whatever left for fast food. Now, if we've got something coming up and I know we're going to eat out at a restaurant, I'll add that in as a different line item, but we don't eat out at restaurants that much. Fast food we do, but not restaurants. Okay. So sinking funds, and some people are confused by that term, and all it means is like a savings fund is all that means. So for like Christmas, gifts, medical, vacation, propane, clothing, and you can do this a couple different ways. I cash flow some things, and then I save some things in a separate online bank account, and then I label it with what it's for so I don't spend it on something else. So for things like propane, we only need that once a year, and the month that it comes up, I just pay cash for it in that month. Clothing, pretty much everything else for the most part, I've got sinking funds for it, but I do it a little differently in that I don't like to have 15 different monthly things. What I do is I will take extra money from selling things, bonuses, tax refunds, the months with the extra paycheck, and I will put those I will fill the sinking fund. So for Christmas, for example, we usually spend about $800. So whenever I've got extra money, I will fill that. I'll just put $800 in there. Same with gifts, $800,000. I put it into the gift fund. And then I don't have to worry about it month to month. I don't like having a whole bunch of monthly things. I like to have it minimal, but it may work better for you to divide it, what you want here in the year, and divide it by 12 to get your monthly expense. That may work better for you. It's really just finding a system that works for you. You may not even like the spreadsheet. You might like an app, and that's fine too. It's just important to find what will work for you. Okay, so for now, we've got a bunch of different sinking funds here as an example. We've got $16.72 left in cash. So let's do our Christmas fund. We'll just do $67 there. I got $250 for medical, $167 for vacation, $67 for gifts, and for clothing, let's do $100 a month for clothing. So we still have $1,021 here. Now, remember that for our zero-based budget, we want to have this at zero. So normally, without a zero-based budget, if this were you as an example, you've got everything covered here. And so this $1,000 would most likely just get spent on something and you have no idea where it went. But when we're intentional about it with our zero-based budget, we can put it toward our goals. And so it doesn't just disappear. So if you don't already have $1,000 saved, that's going to be your first goal. So you want to do savings and you want to do we'll just say $1,000. Okay, well, now we still have this $21 here, so we can find somewhere else to put that. We could put that in our miscellaneous, so let's just put it in miscellaneous because our miscellaneous is just kind of our buffer. And now we have a cash balance of zero. And that is simply how you do it. What's nice about this template is that all the formulas are in there, so you just put in the numbers. It makes it super, super easy. So let me pull up this PowerPoint again. All right, so here's our sinking funds that we've talked about. And what is left? Our income minus expenses. So that was our cash balance that I showed you, and we got it down to zero. So, and for example, you can determine amounts for your sinking funds. You can divide it by 12, or you can just fill it as you go like I do. And you also want to determine what to do with what's left. So this is where you're going to prioritize your needs versus your wants, your saving goals, how much pocket money you want to have, how much you want to spend at restaurants and fast food, and how much fun money you want to have. So we can already talked about that on the spreadsheet. And then you want to save your $1,000. So what is left goes towards saving your $1,000 baby emergency fund. And this is just simply a small buffer for while you are paying off debt. This is not going to be for any major emergencies. It's just a small buffer to help you not go into debt any further than you already are. If you are facing a job loss, pregnancy, illness, or other uncertainty, save more than $1,000. You want to save all extra money until it passes. So if you are pregnant, you would save all extra money. So more than $1,000, every extra penny goes into a savings fund until you and the baby are home for at least 6 to 8 weeks. You want to make sure that everybody's home and healthy. And then once you are done with let me get out of this and let me show you kind of the potential here when you're intentional about this money. So let's say that you already have $1,000 saved. So you don't need any right now because you still have debt. So you've still got your car payment here, you still got your student loans, and you still got credit cards. Okay, so that's quite a bit. That's like $1,000 a month toward debt. So let's just delete that, and you can see kind of the potential of your income here. So if you don't have any debt besides your mortgage, you can have $2,000 a month to do whatever you want with, to save. So because once you are debt free, you want to save 3 to 6 months of expenses. So that $2,000 would go towards your savings. And then once you have that, then you save for retirement, kids' college funds, paying off your mortgage. And just imagine what you could do with $2,000 extra every single month. You could cash flow sending your kid to college. That's a lot of money. So that's kind of what our goal is with this. So let's put this back. So let's see, 400. Let's see, I think I had 300 and 300. Okay, so then we have the $1,000. So let's say you have your $1,000 savings. this will actually go to your debt snowball. So your debt snowball, and I will go more into that later in a different video, but just so that we can make our zero-based budget. So once you have your $1,000 emergency fund, that $1,000 would go to your debt snowball. And your cash balance still be zero. And then that is all going toward debt. And I will explain that more later in a different video. So if you have any questions, feel free to email me at budgetsmadeeasy@gmail.com. And that is all for how to make your budget in less than 30 minutes. So please let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.